Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Matt Tebow from Stacked, and today I am joined by Jimmy, the head coach of Dignitas. Jimmy, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Now, I know this probably isn't the weekend Dig's been looking to have, but I just wanted to know what the journey's been like as you've started getting into the LCS. You've got a mix of new and old blood on the team. How have you guys been adjusting to this new lock-in format, and what are some things you want people to take away from your performance?
Sure. I mean, losing's not going to be fun. We're all competitors, so dropping games is always going to feel pretty bad from our perspective. That being said, the plan from the start for us was to focus on development. There's a couple teams that are in the league that are bringing in a lot of new fresh faces, and we're one of those. So the lock-in tournament is a really great opportunity just to get some extra stage games, right? Even if it's not the regular season, it feels the exact same for us. So when we have guys like Fake God and we have Saligo and Neo, it's really good for them to have some games to find their footing before the regular season actually starts.
Mm-hmm. For sure. How is the team, I suppose the word is reacting. Like everybody learns constantly. This is not like an old issue. But the difference now is with COVID, everything's remote. So after dropping a couple games, I imagine there are a lot of things you want to work on. How is the team adjusting to these like remote practice sessions, or is everybody together? Like what's the situation like on Team Dignitas?
For being or having to deal with COVID and being remote, it's definitely going to have or cause some things to make it a bit tougher when you're trying to set up practice. It's not going to feel the same as when we're in the office and we can all sit down together. That being said, we do a pretty good job of trying to make sure we're always communicating on Discord. So we're spending a lot of times outside of scrims just talking about the game, talking about drafts, going over VODs, watching a lot of things that aren't even league related to keep trying to build up that team synergy. Unfortunately, from my perspective, when I see a development roster, I want to be able to spend as much time together as we can. But like you mentioned, when we're all remote in our individual rooms, it's just going to be a lot tougher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even in the case where we lose a game, it definitely feels pretty bad when we know everyone is just kind of off on their own. So from my perspective as a coach, it's just trying to make sure I'm interfacing as much as I can, just to make sure that everyone knows that nothing really changes for what we're trying to work on. We just kind of have to work through what we're given, right?
Mm-hmm. And going back to your the development you were talking about, and like you said, there are a lot of new fresh faces, a lot of new rookies coming into the league this year. And I think one of the storylines a lot of people are talking about is how these new faces are gonna kind of come in and like push out the old ones. Like I'm thinking in particular of the LCS spot with Spica, FBI, and Tactical. Like, how do you think League of Legends is going to change in the next couple of years? And do you think the old guards still got a lot of blood left in them to go?
I mean, I think it's a natural progression. There's a ton of different opinions on, where the breaking point is as far as how old you are and when you can still play. For me, I feel like League is still at a point where it's not really defined. There's plenty of examples from other traditional sports or esports where the age part doesn't really factor in. That being said, you can see there's a shift that the orgs are seeing where they're recognizing that team play is the most important thing. So you're trying to put together a roster of players that really interact well, personalities balance each other out, gameplay balances each other out. From my perspective, one of the most exciting things about this roster was being able to bring in three players that really buy into that idea. I think there's tons of examples across all the teams of younger players who are incredibly motivated, and the mechanical level was honestly pretty close to what the old guard were at. It's just a lot of it was just experience, right? This year, you can see a lot of teams are just more comfortable trying to foster that talent to give more chances, which I think is just exciting. I think that's natural. I think that in any sport, it's going to be like this, where you're going to hit points where you're going to start to see new, fresh faces, and there's going to be a mix of doubt and then also like overhype for some of the players. So for me, I'm just happy that I'm on one of the orgs that gets to give some of these players chances. I think it's fun.
Of course. And moving on to that, I think the natural progression is also the meta of League of Legends. Like Season 11, we got a bunch of new items. How do you feel about the meta as it is? It feels like we're seeing a lot of like the same picks over and over again, particularly in like top and mid lane. Like in top lane, you're seeing Renekton's, Camille's, Ornn's. In mid lane, you're seeing like Zoe's, Oriana's, Victor's, all that stuff. How do you feel about the meta of Season 11? Do you think it'll evolve anymore where it is? Do you think we're going to see wilder picks as the lock-in goes on and teams experiment? Or do you think people are just going to stick to what they know is going to be good?
I'm definitely expecting that there's going to be adaptations. You're going to start to see new picks. You have to keep in mind when it comes to North America, a lot of the teams were incomplete due to visa issues and things like that. So when you think about how much time teams have actually even had to really grind out things, it's still pretty limited. So a lot of what NA is showing right now, some of it is lingering from the World's meta, some of it is from what everyone's seen in Kespa Cup and Demacia Cup. It kind of makes sense that teams are kind of copying similar things right now just because of how scrims have been going. But I definitely expect things to change. Even when we're seeing like mythic items and the balancing, when mythic items changes, that definitely can force what champions are seen as OP, or people might have more ideas about how to counter those OPs, and it might be something unique. Yeah, I expect there's going to be more changes, and it should get a bit more exciting than just Renekton or Camille every single game.
Yeah. One last question. What can fans of the Dignitas organization expect from the team going forward?
I think they can expect to see a team that's genuinely trying to figure out how to play together. I think that they should be patient to give us time to kind of find our footing and to get comfortable. But the things fans should be excited about is just knowing that internally we have a lot of guys that believe in each other. We have a lot of guys that are motivated and hungry to show what they can do. And our main focus is just trying to keep the environment positive and taking it game by game.
Of course. Once again, thank you so much for your time, Jimmy. I really appreciate you coming on. You can find us on stack.gg. That's our website where you can find original content. You can follow us on Twitter at StackedLOL, and you can follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and that like button if you're seeing it on there. That really helps us out a lot. And if you want to get there and you're not watching it there, I don't know why you're not, but now you know, you can find us at youtube.com/StackedLOL. Once again, thanks for coming on and have a good night.
Thanks for having me.